Alright, next job is going to be this 2004 M3. Only got about 29,000 miles on it. It's here from New Orleans, Louisiana. I'm going to paint the hood. It's starting to fail here in the center. Clearcoat has already come off on the bumper. I'll do that also. Same thing with the roof. Already started to de-trim it. I've got these pieces loose. They'll be taken off. I'm going to clean out from under there. Got the shark fin off. Just going to have it taped to the back glass while I work on it, and then reroute it when I get ready to paint. That way I don't damage the paint and trying to install it later. Also got a scratch here on the back bumper. Here, all the way back to here. Just going to spot that and clear the whole bumper, most likely. We do those 4 panels, and I'll be back when I get the bumpers off. That'll be the next step. Okay, I got everything off. Here's a quick shot of that. Rear bumper. I've got the backup sensors plugged back in just so that it doesn't set any codes that can't be cleared. Half the time they'll clear themselves, but I don't want to chance it. Front bumper's off. This is not as easy as you might think on this model. Get the grills out of the hood, emblem, vent grill out of the cowl. Took this piece off the rear bumper. It goes right in here. Didn't need any paint, and I want to be able to clean all the dirt out of this gap here. You get the paint all the way in there so it won't peel. This front bumper, got a little damage on the bottom, on each side. Here's the back side of it. Just snaps into 4 studs in those 2 places on either side. Right there, right there. Got the grill and the side markers out of that. Next thing is going to be to wash all these panels, let those dry thoroughly. I'll come back and start sanding out all the places where it's peeled and do a little bit of repair work on the front bumper, and then get some primer put on it. Okay, I've done a quick mask job on the car just to keep dust out of it while I sand these 2 panels. The hood really only needs to be sanded through right here where the clear's coming off. These 2 spots and one right here. I'm going to try to save as much of the original paint as I can. I'm just going to prime over the areas I've got to feather out. On the roof I've got 2 places. One patch here and one right here in the middle. I've got this protected here so I don't hit the glass. I'm going to run over this with 400 grit until I feather it out. I'm trying not to go to 180 if I don't have to. I'll show you that once I get it sanded back, and it'll be ready for primer, and then I'll move on to the parts. Alright, I got everything sanded out that's peeling back. I got everything to feather pretty well. I had a rock chip here, 2 chips here. Had to go all the way to the metal to get all the chip out on those. Got the back ready. Still need to pull the adhesive off there, but I can get the primer work done and do that afterwards when I get ready to prep for paint. Got the hood spot here. These 2 spots. Well, it was actually 3, but I ended up with one large one there. Found a really tiny dent right there. You see where it didn't sand it. I have to put a tiny bit of filler in that. I'm not sure if the primer will get it or not. I'm not going to put a whole lot of primer there, so I just put some filler. It'll be paper thin anyway. I'll pull this back when I get ready to prime and actually sand all the rock chips out of the front of the hood. Next will be the repairs on the bumper here. I got to sand all these out. I'm going to start with 80 grit to get it smooth all through here. Probably just 180 in here. This is actually just in the paint, not in the plastic. These over here, start with 80 grit and finish it off with maybe 180. And then go to some bumper repair adhesive just to smooth that over. Be back when I get ready for that. Alright, I've gone through the scratches on this part of the bumper here with 80 grit. This is what it looked like before, just very similar to the other side. Most all of those sanded out. There's some right in here where you can still see those, and there's a pretty deep gash on the corner here. There's a little bit of an impact here at some point. There's a little bit of a wave right there in the bumper, you can see it. Gonna have to fill a little bit of that when I put some filler on this. I'm gonna sand this out the same way, and then we're gonna put in this 3M 5887 Easy Sand Repair. See if I can focus it. Easy Sand Repair material. This stuff can be used as a cosmetic surface repair or a seam sealer over primer. We're going to sand this out, and also some of these on the corner here. That I'm going to see if those will sand out. If not, I'll put some filler in that also. But once this is sanded out, I'll spray some adhesion promoter before I put the repair compound on it. Then apply that and let it harden for about 20 minutes. I got a little filler in that dent there. Just put that on a few minutes ago. It should be hardening up any minute now. I'm going to finish sanding this and show you the repair compound. Alright, I've got everything sanded through to the plastic, most of the scratches out. I'm going to apply one medium light coat of this 5907 adhesion promoter. That'll make sure that the repair compound sticks. I'll let that flash for about, I think it's 15 minutes or so. I can come back and apply the repair compound on top of that. Okay, while that adhesion promoter is flashing off, I'm going to sand the front edge of the hood to get all the chips out of it. I've got a fresh piece of 400 grit on my 3/16 DA. This hood is aluminum, so I don't want to cross-contaminate with the hood. With the roof. So for the hood, I'm going to use a new piece. I blew the sander out really well. Got a new piece of paper. When I get done, I'm going to wipe this down really good. And then I will prime this when I prime everything else. Best way to find the paint chips is to take some of this dust, rub it over the panel and see where it gets caught. See one right there, I just rubbed the white dust in the chips. You don't have to go all the way through it, just enough to where the primer will fill it. It's best to go all the way through and feather it back, but sometimes it's not practical. Alright, I'll get the rest of it and show you the end result. Then we'll go over to the bumper. Alright, this is flashed for 10 minutes. I looked up the flash time, it's 10 minutes only. And it's about 70 in here, so I'm just going to go with what it recommends. I'm going to apply the repair compound now. I'm going to squeeze a little bit out of the tube and discard about an inch or two of it and come back and start using it. Didn't quite get the hood completely sanded in the front, but I'll do that when I get done with this. I had to stop and do this once it was flashed. Just going to apply it where I need it. Come back and flatten it out. It'll look like a mess for a little while here, but it'll flatten out pretty nice and kind of self-level. This is good for sealing up door hem flanges also when you're doing door skins. You tape off the area that you want to put it and then apply it, tool it flat, and then pull the tape off, and you have a perfect edge on either side of it. If I ever do a door skin again, I'll definitely film that. You get about 5 minutes of work time with this, so you don't really have to rush all that much. If it were any faster, I'd have to get something slower. Try to shape it to where you want it to be and feather it out while it's still wet, because they call it easy sand. It's easy enough to sand, but it's not the best. I like sanding Bondo. That should be enough. I'm going to tool this out. It should be good. I try to put it on every spot I can get it on at once, because those mixing tips cost roughly between $1 and $2 a piece, and every time you add some, you have to use another mixing tip. It adds up pretty quick. This is really the only spot on the bumper here that was of any depth to really have to address. Alright, that's good. Alright, the front of the hood's just about done. I've got all the chips sanded out as far as I need to go. I'm going to come through and get all these edges around here and inside here with a Scotch-Brite pad. And this edge, I'm not going to prime in here. I'm going to tape, maybe with some foam tape or something around this edge. Because everywhere you put primer, you got to go back and sand it after that, so you just create more work for yourself the more you put on. Trying to minimize the amount of primer and the area of primer I've got. This is the filler, probably the size of a nickel or dime maybe. Almost see through it so thin, but that got the dent taken care of. Here's the compound on the bumper. It's tacky, but it's setting up. You see how it kind of wets out and gets nice and flat. I'll let that sit overnight. I'll stop this video here, and the next video will be of the primer getting applied after I sand the bumper down and the rest of the hood, and get the rest of it masked off properly for primer.